What's up, y'all? Welcome back to Fish at the Moment. I just got done catching about 20 fish off an offshore ledge behind me. Absolutely smashed them. Now I'm going to show you how I found this spot using mapping, my electronics, and how I put them in the boat with a unique technique you definitely need to try on your home lake. Let's get into it. Oh, there are definitely some fish right there. Look at that. Bunch of fish schooled up, sitting kind of high right off the edge of this ledge. That is absolutely perfect for what I like to fish, guys. Some suspended fish up here. Man, look at that. Got a ton of dots that are just chilling there in like 15 feet of water, suspended over 25. Those fish are perfect for throwing my favorite little rig, my little core tackle tush with the spunk shad. I graphed another little group over here too a second ago. Let's see what they were doing. Basically, I'm on the edge of a nice ledge here, guys. It doesn't look like much of a ledge on the map here, but it actually is a pretty good drop off. I thought I saw a few fish setting up over here as well, just closer to the bottom, which may be better fish to throw like a deep diving crankbait on. I'm gonna see if they're still there. A lot of times when you're on these ledges, guys, because there's these big groups of fish, sometimes they're not always bass, or sometimes they're just roaming fish. And so I grabbed that school and they're completely gone. That happens sometimes. So I don't know what happened there. I'm gonna regraph that school that I marked over here that looked really good to see if those fish are still there. Because if they haven't moved, there's a really good chance we're gonna be able to pull up there and absolutely hammer on them right there. The ledge spots, guys, really the most important thing to look for as I graph back over to the spot. If we go to a chart, you don't really necessarily need to have like this perfect sharp break. You can see here that we have a really nice creek channel that runs into this area right here. And there's a sharp drop off right where that channel swings in. And it doesn't look super sharp on this mapping. If you look at different mapping, it actually looks a little bit more sharp. But having that channel swing up against a flatter area like this is always going to be key to finding groups of fish in the summertime. And if we can, you see on our side imaging here, there's a really nice drop off, super sharp drop off right there on the left side of the side imaging. And if we graph back over this, I'm hoping we're gonna see that school of fish setting up still, and they haven't swam away. Looks like they're still down there. Yeah, they're still down there. There's still a bunch of them down there. You can see them suspended. These are fish that a lot of guys won't even target at times, guys, on these ledges because they're suspended so high up. Most guys think that they need to find fish that are glued to the bottom on a ledge, but these are actually my favorite fish to target. They're all suspended up through there. They're sitting in one spot. I mean, those are all fish, and it is just going down right there, guys. That's crazy. If we take a look at our side view as well, you can see that super sharp drop off right there. Bam. There's some bait fish just up here as well. We got bait in the area. We got that super hard ledge on the side imaging. This is absolutely perfect. We are about to smash them, guys. Got him. There he is. Got him. Came up and hammered that thing. Second cast on this little drop here. Nice largemouth. Choked it. Here we go. Tush with that spunk shad down the throat. There's so many fish down there, guys. That's a really nice largemouth there. Got to get back down there. When these schools start firing, guys, just make your lineup, make your cast. I'm just going to spot lock here, not watch them on the scope. Got a lineup right in front of me, guys, in just the corner of this island. I'm going to let that bait sink. I let it sink a little bit longer that second time. I actually counted it 10 seconds. So 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Actually let it down to depth. First cast I didn't let it get down there, and man, those fish got all over it. I felt 2 hit it before that one actually got it, and there's a bunch of them in this area. It's 25 feet of water, but I'm trying to work that bait in like 10 feet of water. I want to keep it above the level of those fish because they're going to come up to eat this bait. You don't really want to get this bait down into their level. A lot of anglers are going to get a bait right in the level of those fish, and a lot of times I feel like that's why this bait's so effective. Oh, come on. Got him. There we go. Nice fish. Stay on there. The thing sink down there. Bam, another one right there. On the tush and the spunk shad. All over it right there. Nice little largemouth. And these aren't giant fish, guys, because I'm fishing Beaver Lake today. If you're fishing on the Tennessee River, these would probably be like 3 and 4 and 5 pounders. It's just the part of the country I'm in. There's just not always these giant schools of bass that set up in that size. A lot of the schools of fish I'll find on my lakes are these, pound and a half, 2 pounders. But the way I work that bait again is I let that bait sink, not watching really the scope at all, just letting that bait sink down there, and then I hop my rod tip 3 times. Go 3 times, and they come up and get it. I mean, just like that. And they will eat this thing so well. And there's not a lot of baits you can throw that will get these fish to react super well like this, especially when they're suspended. But that little rig, I'm telling you, I've been throwing it for like 2 years now, and I don't know, I don't really see anyone else doing it like on the pro level. I don't see anyone doing it in other YouTube videos. I feel like the only people who would be doing this are people who watch my content. So if you're on the lake and you see fish set up like this, schooled up on ledges, suspended off the bottom a little bit, even if they're on the bottom, you can pull fish off the bottom with this rig really easily, and they'll come up and eat it. And all I do, guys, is just work that bait like I'm showing you, and I get so many bites doing it. It's unbelievable. And I just think it's something these fish have not seen. They're not used to a bait like this, and it's different from a standard like Demiki rig jig head minnow thing. It just is a little bit bigger profile, falls differently because that tush puts the weight inside that bait. It glides a little bit better, and man, they eat it. Got him. There we go. It's every freaking cast, guys. And again, not big ones, but it just depends on getting on the right school. I mean, this school is loaded up with smaller fish, but I've gotten on schools. I mean, I've had days on Grand Lake where I've had like 5 fish for over 20 pounds on this deal, no problem. So it's not necessarily a rig that, it's not the rig that's getting the small fish, or it's, not a situation where you're always going to catch big ones. A lot of times you have to just be on a lake where those fish set up with the big ones in big schools. And we may find a big school of fish today. I'm going to keep running these areas because this is literally the first ledge I stopped on, and they're freaking piled up. So it could get really, really good here in a minute, guys. Oh, my line jumped a foot. How did you not eat that fish? What the heck? Doom. Oh, it's such a fun bite when they eat this thing. Dang. Get down there. How did he not get that, though? Got him. There we go. Dang, my line jumped a freaking foot. It's every cast on this school, guys. I mean, this is so fun. I know they're not big ones, guys, but this is just an absolute blast. Choking that thing right there. Oh my gosh. Spunk shad, 4/8 3/8 ounce core tackle tush. Just getting it every cast. As far as my gear goes for this bait, I'm just throwing it on Denali's 7'2" medium heavy power fast action bait casting rod with 12-pound fluorocarbon line. I feel like 12-pound fluorocarbon is really important with this. It allows that bait to fall a little more naturally. And again, try to keep that bait above the level of those fish. If it's getting down below them, I don't feel like this bait is nearly as effective. They have to come up to come get it. And I also find that if I watch them on the Livescope, I've talked about this before, but the more I watch them on the Livescope, the fewer bites I get. Oh, come on, eat it. The fewer bites I get when I watch them on the scope with this. I just like to just fish it. And one of my really good buddies, he's not caught them as well on this rig, and I always tell him, don't watch it on the Livescope, don't watch it on the Livescope. And he did that the other day, and he caught him. And I think that that is one of my favorite things about this deal, is that it's not as effective just as, when you're staring at them on the screen. So I think also a lot of guys don't really catch them as well on this rig, because they really want to sit there and watch every fish eat it. And that's just not the way that this technique works. It's a weird deal. It's kind of a spin on a technique that Jacob Wheeler used to win a tournament on Lake Gunnersville. That's a better one. He hit me way out there. And he was basically doing what I'm doing, just blind firing up there, not watching his bait on the scope. And when he got the bait around him, he would just work it. That's where I got the idea for this technique. And you can do this with a standard Demiki rig, and I've done that before, but I just get way more bites on this TUSH and the Spunk Shad. For whatever reason, they just really like that combo. Really good. I mean, guys, it is every cast on this spot. It is absolutely crazy. I'm just spot locked. I got that school found. You saw me find them on 2D. It's not like I'm doing anything crazy. I mean, it's not like I'm live scoping around or anything like that. This is just old school normal fishing. And the live scope can help a little bit. You know, you can get yourself in a position where you can kind of see them, but you can see where the school's kind of set up. But I mean, most of it is just what I'm doing right here. Just popping the rod, watching my line. When I see my line pop, like that, set the hook. I mean, it is dead simple fishing on these ledges, and it's every freaking cast out here. I told you we were gonna smash them out here. Not big ones, but I mean, who doesn't want to catch them every freaking cast? There we go. Got him. Dang, fine fish. After you grabbed it. Oh, it's a good one too. Working that thing a little bit different. I actually started fishing kind of like a hair jig down there, letting it go all the way on the bottom. That one grabbed it. About 6 grabbed it actually, that same cast. And finally one actually ate it. There's so many fish down there, guys. It's crazy. Basically, what I was doing on that fish, and I actually got several bites on that cast. So I fired it out there. I'm watching them on the scope this time, just to kind of see how they react, just because I'm curious a little bit. And you can see some fish that are way down there on the bottom. So my thinking is I wanted to throw that bait down there, let it sink all the way down to the bottom, and fish it like a hair jig. So what that means is you basically get that bait down the bottom, you burn it 3 or 4 times and let it fall. And if those fish are tired to the bottom, in theory, they might be more likely to actually try to eat it. So I'm trying that and seeing if that'll work. And I did get, you know, 1 fish doing that. So don't know if that means really anything, but there's another one though. And that was worked on the bottom. And this feels like a better quality fish too. Last one was a little bit better too. It's interesting. Oh yeah, a lot better quality. The hair jig approach, okay. That's a really nice fish actually. It's a 2.5 pounder. Wow, who would have thought? Well, I guess all the fish that were up high were little ones, and then that's a really nice keeper right there for Beaver Lakes. A solid 2.25, almost 2.5 pounder on the hair jig method. Uh-oh, okay. So figured out something a little bit different, which is always good. Basically just threw that thing out there, worked it like the hair jig. Sometimes, guys, you got to experiment like that. When those fish stop biting, you got to do something a little bit different. Obviously, I was getting bit every single cast the other way too, so it's not like the other way wasn't working. And some days those better fish are higher up in the water column. Some days, I guess, they're on the bottom further. So I'm going to do a little bit of both, but that's the first really good keeper we've actually had on this deal. And there's obviously a lot of fish here, so it's good to know that that's a possible technique to get these fish to react and commit. Got him. There we go. Hair jig method. Let's see what we got. Doesn't feel like a real big one, but oh, it's a decent one though. Another almost keeper. Nice, better quality off the bottom, guys. That is a keeper, I think. Nice. Getting our limit going here. Beautiful fish. And also, by the way, that's like my 13th, 14th fish on this deal. I have not changed baits. This is the same Hog Farmer Spunk Shad with that same 4/3/8 ounce core tackle tush. That tush holds the bait on so well, guys, and I have not had to change baits at all. One pack of baits will last you so long with this deal. That's another reason why I love it, because when you're fishing for these schooling fish, you can get back in there really quickly without having to mess around changing baits, all that stuff. And you're also dealing with a single hook presentation, which is I'm a really big fan of, just in the sense that you don't have to necessarily worry so much about losing the fish once you've got them hooked. Obviously these fish can slap at the bait and it's not going to be perfect every single time. I do have fish that sometimes when you set the hook they won't get fully, hooked up. That's just normal because these fish are just slapping at this bait. But when they do get hooked, as you can see, they have that thing choked. And it's every freaking cast. Now that I changed to the hair jig method, it's like the school completely reactivated. Not a big one again, but just another nice fish. Just choking that thing. Look at that. Beautiful fish. Just fish after fish after fish. Well guys, that was absolutely awesome. In 30 minutes, I caught over 15 fish on that core tackle 4/3/8 ounce tush on that Hog Farmer Spunk Shad. Only used one bait the entire time. It's all torn up, but this is the same bait I started with, and the fish were absolutely destroying it. If you find fish on an offshore ledge suspended like I showed you earlier, definitely try that core tackle tush. And as I learned today, you definitely want to experiment with that retrieve. Work that bait in the middle of the water column maybe to start, and then work it like a hair jig down on the bottom after those fish kind of start getting conditioned to that first retrieve. If you do, you're going to put a ton of good fish in the boat. This technique is going to work on lakes all across the country. It's working here on Beaver Lake in Arkansas, which is a really tough fishery. So if your lake has anything like I showed in the mapping, you're bound to catch some really nice fish and a lot of fish with this technique. Definitely check it out on your home lake and let me know how it goes. Thanks for checking out this video. We'll see you on the next one.